For years, the American public has been victimized by the so-called cinematic geniuses, telling us time and again to see inferior movies, leaving us bitter and lost with nowhere to turn. But no more! This travesty of justice cannot and will not continue, because we now have the Cinema Judge!
Hello and welcome to the Cinema Judge. For my regular listeners, thank you again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Y'all have busy lives and you take time out of your life to listen here. And I thank you. And at the end of the show, I'll thank you all specifically. And if you're a new listener, thank you for showing up. Whatever brought you here, did somebody tell you? Did you just stumble across it? Or was it the movie that we're talking about this week that brought you here? Either way, thank you very much. And if you like the show, tell a friend. I'd really appreciate it. And if you are a first-time listener, let me tell you a little bit about our show. First of all, this is a movie review show, but it's more about sharing information with you. We love movies, and we like to share movies with you. And what this show originally is, it's a cable access show in Bloomington, Minnesota. And on that show, we get press kits. And I just make one giant show talking about one particular movie. In these press kits, I have interviews with the actors, directors, producers. We also have clips from the movie, and we also have on-the-set footage. Unfortunately, on this kind of platform, we can't share the on-the-set footage. But if you ever want to watch a show that we have here, go to our website. It's on demand. Most of these shows are on demand. You can just watch it anytime you want. If you go to Bloomington, Minnesota's webpage, if you go to BLM, as in Bloomington, .mn /BTV -shows. And then when you get there, just type in Cinema Judge, 2 words, and then a whole bunch of the shows will show up. What separates that from this is I don't talk at all. That is pure 100% show. I have, like I said, just interviews and scenes and everything else. It speaks for itself. They try to tell you why you should see this film, and then you make up your own mind. Me being a judge, I collect the information and I give it to you. You don't need me to tell you not to see it or not. I'll tell you if I love a movie or not, but I would never tell you not to see a movie. Who am I to tell you? We all have different paths. Any movie is somebody's favorite movie. Who cares if somebody likes a movie? That's great. So that's what we do here. We just try to say, here's the evidence, you make up your own mind. Because the way I see it, you can go anywhere to hear people rip actors, rip a movie, whatever they want to do. Well, prove to me that you could do better. That's all I ask. If you could have the guts to sit behind a keyboard or go anywhere and just start yelling and screaming about a movie or a director, actor, whatever it is that you don't like, prove to me that you could do better. Until you do, I really don't care. And I'm not that type of person who's going to tell you I don't like this person or whatever. That's just insane to me. And just speaking from personal experience, I always grew up with loving shows that just had interviews. Tell me why I should see your movie. I don't want to hear a lot of this or that or anybody's opinion on something. That's your deal. You don't know what I like. I don't know what you like. So for me, I've always been a fan of you pitch your story to me. You tell me this is what the movie's about. And then I'll decide if I want to see the movie or not. Not you. I would want to read from who makes what critic know anything. I've never understood that. So that's what I want to do is give you the evidence that I like to listen to. Because when I make this show, first as a TV show, I love pouring through all the interviews, the scenes, try to make it one cohesive story of this is why they think you should see the movie. And that's what I truly enjoy about this show. And I'll sum it up with just one more simple statement that I try to keep in the back of my head. Drop it, love it, leave it. I drop it here. I love what I do. And I leave it for you. You are now in control of your own viewing pleasure, if you will. Drop it, love it, leave it. And I move on. Now, today, approaching the bench, we have Promising Young Woman. Now, this film is directed by Emeraldfennell. She's a first-time director. She's written a lot of great shows. She's been a writer, executive producer on Killing Eve. She wrote in The Drifters, The Crown, Victoria, and Call the Midwife. She is an incredible writer, and now this is her chance to direct and write this movie. And I'm not going to lie to you, just personally speaking, I loved this film. The guts it took to make this film. How the studio said, free reign, you go. Yes, she's a great writer, but wow, for a first-time director, she takes a big swing, and this swing is just a home run. Is this movie for everybody? Of course not. It is very dark. It's very real. It's honest. And here's another deal. This isn't a death wish for women. This isn't an anti-guy movie. I'm talking to a lot of guys, and before they even see it, and this is what really gets underneath my skin, they start judging a movie before they even see it. They base it on what other people have told them, or just by watching a trailer thinking, this is what the movie's about. Until you see this movie, don't come crying to me saying that this is what the movie's about, it's bashing men. No, it's not bashing men, it's bashing the system that has allowed men to act like complete pigs, animals, pieces of, you know what I'm saying. This is a far deeper film than just a revenge film. This writer crafts a story that is so well made. It leaves so much open, but it just brings you in. It is truly a great film. Again, is it for everybody? Of course not. But to all those guys out there who always act tough and big and saying, hey, if you don't like it, get over it. And then when they start crying about this film, it's just one film, just saying example of one story, and you're crying over that you perceive it as being this way? Come on. If you're going to be all that strong and big man, see the film before you judge it. Don't be a baby. And it's just laughable how these guys who could be all tough and out in the normal world be, yeah, this is my thing. But then you're threatened by a movie? It's laughable, to be honest with you, and sad, and a true reflection of that kind of behavior. Now, this movie stars Careymulligan as Cassandra, and she is just phenomenal. What she can do in every movie she does is just unbelievable. She's been in a recent movie on Netflix called The Dig. It's based on a true story. How two stories could be completely different, characters wildly different, and she could pull it off. I mean, her list of movies that she has done is just top notch. She was in the 2020 A Christmas Carol, 2018 show Collateral. If you haven't seen Collateral, put it on your list. It is truly a great show. 2018 Wildlife, 2017 Mudbound, 2013 The Great Gatsby. Of course, another fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, see it. And one of my personal favorite movies of her is the 2011 film Drive. She says so much without saying so little. And the directing in that film is just spectacular. Just in watching her say so much without saying anything. The true evidence of a great actor or actress is saying stuff without saying anything at all. And she just does that with just to a whole new level. And of course, she was in the 2005 film Pride and Prejudice. But what she does in this film, this character that you'd never expect her to pull off, but she just nails it. She is so skilled and talented. You truly will be amazed. So without further ado, let's play the trailer for Promising Young Woman.
Whisper something in your ear.
Good God almighty. You know, they put themselves in danger, girls like that.
It was a perverted thing to say.
You'd think you'd learn by that age, right?
Please lay down. What are you doing?
It's okay, hey, you're silent.
What are you doing? Hey, I said, what are you doing? Every week, I go to a club. I act like I'm too drunk to stand. And every week, a nice guy comes over to see if I'm okay.
You okay? You are so pretty. I am a nice guy.
Are you?
1, 2, 3, 4. I thought we had a connection.
Okay. How old am I? What are my hobbies? What's my name? Sorry, maybe that one's too hard.
Cassandra? We were in class together at Forest. You would have been a great doctor. What happened?
I left under unusual circumstances. You remember what happened, right? Why I dropped out. I'm not the only one who didn't believe it. We get accusations like this all the time. Who needs brains? They never did a girl any good. I'm so sorry I didn't go with her. You gotta let it go.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
Why do you guys have to ruin everything? We were kids.
If I hear that one more time, I have to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was hoping you'd feel differently by now.
It's every guy's worst nightmare getting accused like that.
Can you guess what every woman's worst nightmare is? I wanted to be a doctor my whole life. Lately, I've been feeling like I might want to get back into it.
Coming up next, we have the director of this film and writer talking about what she wanted to accomplish in writing this film.
What I wanted to do is try and write a film about a woman, an ordinary woman, and how an ordinary woman might take revenge in the real world. And that's very rarely reaching for a gun. It's sort of more weird and sort of twisted than that. So I guess Promising Young Woman is a sort of twisted female revenge comedy thriller.
Coming up next, we have Careymulligan, who plays Cassandra in this film, talking about what makes this story special.
The most interesting part of this story is not the extremes and the absolute worst violence that is experienced by women, or the worst violations. It's the really subtle stuff that we've just become so used to in our society. And those are the scenes in the film that I find really interesting. They're the everyday occurrences that happen to young girls, you know, and women, that we've just become, that we all grew up sort of feeling very used to and accepting of. And so that's the part of it's the ambiguity around all of this stuff that I think Emerald's really looking at in this story. It's obviously there's a very clear right and wrong at the heart of this story, and that's what her kind of path is, trying to sort of correct. But there's also throughout there's these moments that you can justifiably have two different perspectives on, and I think it's those grey areas that we don't talk about that are the areas that are really interesting.
Coming up next, we're going to play a clip from this film. I'm going to try to set the scene up a little bit. In this scene, she's already gone home with somebody who tried to save her. I'm doing air quotes with my fingers there, but he's trying to save her. And this is after she wakes up from pretending. You know, when she allows him to think that, hey, I'm in charge here, brings her back to his place, and then wham, hey, what were you doing? So this is that kind of scene where it's just that whole, such great writing and acting, and that uncomfortability that, oh my God, he's caught in his little lie. He knows that, oh my God, I have been called out as being a complete piece of worm food. It is just hilarious and hard to watch at the same time, but it's so well done and crafted. So here is a scene from Promising Young Woman.
I just thought that you were...
Drunk?
Yeah.
Really drunk?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not. But that's good, isn't it?
I think you should leave.
Oh, now you want me to leave?
No, I'm really high. Like, I'm really high right now. I don't know what I'm doing. I think you should go.
But a second ago, you were determined for me to stay. You were pretty insistent, actually.
I'm a nice guy.
Are you?
I thought we had a connection, I guess.
A connection? Okay. What do I do for a living? Sorry, maybe that one's too hard. How old am I? How long have I lived in the city? What are my hobbies? What's my name?
Coming up, we have the writer and director talking about the male characters in this film. Now, this is the kind of interview I want all those little scaredy cat boys who are threatened by this movie to listen to what she's saying. So here's an interview with the writer and director.
The thing that I would say about all of the male characters in this film is none of them are bad people. and in fact, nobody in this film is a bad person. It's really important, and was really important to me, that men and women in this film were all just part of a culture that grew up with a sort of slightly dodgy attitude to sex and the way that sex was achieved, let's say. But really crucially, there is no person in this film, except for maybe one or two, who isn't doing really something that lots of people have done all the time, which has been culturally and socially acceptable for years and years and years. The thing that's so important to me about this film is just asking, you know, the sort of fundamental question of this film is, if this thing is fine, why do we all feel so weird about it?
Coming up next, we have Laverne Cox, who plays Gail. You know her from Orange is the New Black, the 2020 film Bad Hair, and the 2019 film Charlie's Angels. Here she is talking about the film.
I could not put the script down. I thought it was just brilliant and completely unexpected, and just it blew my mind. And I immediately thought, this is a really important film. This is a really important story that absolutely needs to be told. I've been wondering a lot about this particular historic moment that we're in, this reckoning that we're having around sexual assault, around Me Too, and what kind of art is going to come out of this moment. What does that art start to look like? And Emerald's script felt like the answer to that, to me, in a really very unexpected way.
Coming up next, we're going to play another clip from this film. Now, in this clip, we have Laverne Cox, who plays Gail. She's the boss of Cassie, played by Careymulligan. In this scene, she's trying to encourage her, get out, do another job. You're working here at a coffee shop. And while this is happening, a customer has walked up, and there's this fun little banter of them two and this customer. But anyway, it's just a fun conversation about two friends, and one's just trying to say, come on, you need to move forward. You need to start doing something better. You can do better. So here's the scene.
And he says there's a position opening up at head office. And don't freak out, but I want you to know I recommended you for it.
Why would you do that?
Cause you're sneaking up the joint with your sad little face.
But I like it here.
No, you don't.
No, I don't, but I like you. And I like, hello, working in a customer-facing role.
Great, can I get
No,
Cassie.
don't Cassie me, I'm fine. Gail, really.
Johnny said he saw you at the Fallout last week, said you were completely hammered and on your own. He was a little worried. I know it's none of my
You must have
business.
seen someone else, I've never been there.
Okay.
Coming up next, we have Bo Burnham, who plays Ryan. You've probably seen him in the 2017 film The Big Sick, 2011 Hall Pass, and 2009 Funny People. Now, Ryan, he plays the, I know this is a hard one to say. I guess you'd kind of say wannabe love interest for Cassie. They used to go to school together at doctor school or whatever, the medical school. I'm sorry, that's the proper word. They went to medical school together, and he's just trying to get back with her, communicate with her. And this is him talking about that character, or more specifically, he's talking about how surprised he was when he read this script and how much he really had to do it.
I read the script and met Emerald, just a little meeting, and just felt like I really got along with her. And like the script was just super shocking to me, and like actually not what I expected. Even, you know, a lot of scripts, when they've kind of, maybe movies present themselves as subversive, but actually you kind of know the way in which it's going to be subversive. And this one was really, really surprising. And then I wanted to just meet the person who wrote this. And I sat down with Emerald, and she was sort of not what I expected in the best way.
Coming up next, we're going to play another clip from this film. In this clip, we have Ryan, played by Bo Burnham, talking to Casey. And in this scene, he ends up putting his foot in his mouth. He's trying to imply, why are you working here? But it's really fun. She's not backing down. She's not coddling him. She's just like, yeah, whatever, buddy. You know, do better. So, in a nutshell, here's a scene. He has his foot in his mouth, and he just wants to get out of it.
Why are you working here? Or, I didn't mean, that was rude. I didn't.
You didn't mean, what am I doing working in a shitty coffee shop?
Yeah, no, I just meant, you know, given There's no getting out of this, is there?
Nuh-uh.
I'm gonna leave. Can I leave and then come back and I can do it? I can do it again and be better.
You want milk
Pardon?
in your coffee?
No, but you can spit in it if you want. I deserve that. Thank you. Do you want to go out with me?
What?
On a date?
Seriously, I just spat in your coffee.
Coming up next, we have the writer-director of this film talking about the character Ryan and how charming he is and funny he is and how they really needed somebody to pull that off. So this is her talking about getting Bo Burnham to play Ryan.
The thing about Ryan is he's just a completely straightforward, decent, funny person. And I think that his sort of normality and charm and the kind of life that he offers Cassie is so beguiling. And obviously we needed somebody really, really deeply charming and charismatic to play Ryan. And so when Bo Burnham came in and read with Carey, it was just like completely a no-brainer. He's so brilliant and the chemistry that they have is so good. And so it really does become difficult for her because not only does Ryan, not only is he sort of taking her away from her journey or her mission, let's say, but he was at med school with her, and so he knows some of the people in her life that she'd rather forget. And so he's sort of a blessing and a curse.
Coming up next, we have Careymulligan talking about working with Bo Burnham and how much she enjoyed laughing on the set. Because with somebody like her, she mentions in this interview, she makes sometimes such serious films. It's fun for her to relax and have fun.
It's been so problematic working with Bo. I honestly can't remember the last time it was a problem laughing at work. I haven't been working on such serious films. No, he's ruined so many takes by making me laugh. But he's just so quick, and he'll never do a scene without just adding one other thing in, and it's usually the thing that just completely ruins me, and then I'm gone. But yeah, he's just great, and it's hard to imagine anyone apart from Bo playing that part because the film needs that kind of humor at the center of it.
Coming up next, we're going to play another clip from the film. Now, in this clip, his character comes back to the coffee shop after the previous time when she, as she says, spat in his coffee.
Oh, hi.
One coffee, hold the spit. She spat in my coffee last time. I'm back because I think you gave me a fake number the other day.
It doesn't sound like me.
I know. So I spent a few hours composing a very witty, very romantic text, and then I sent that text to an oil rig worker called Red.
Was he into it?
Surprisingly into it. It was immediately inappropriate, but it's not going to work out because of the oil rig. So I thought I'd try you again.
I just heard a phone ring in the back.
No, you didn't.
I most definitely heard a phone ring in the back.
She has to take a few imaginary calls a day.
Look, if you're not into this, totally get it.
I'm not really looking to date anyone at the moment.
Right, yeah. Me neither. Would you be interested in a friendship? And I'm secretly pining for you the whole time?
Coming up next, you have Bo Burnham talking about working with Careymulligan.
She's just great. She's just a really good actor in a very simple, fundamental way, where it's just she's absolutely present but lets you into whatever is happening, is giving in a, I don't know. I mean, she's just a lot better than me. I think she's a lot better actor than me, so it's very stupid for me to describe in what way she is. It's just, I'm mostly surprised that she's just very cool and down to earth.
Coming up next, we're going to play another clip. Now, in this clip, Cassie takes Ryan home to meet her parents. They're having this uncomfortable little dinner. Her parents are so excited that she finally brings home a boy after a long drought. And Cassie's father is played by Clancy Brown. He is a legendary voice actor. He's been in everything from SpongeBob to TV shows like Billions, The Crown, Daredevil, The Mandalorian, and so on. But a lot of you might recognize him from Shawshank Redemption, where he played Captain Hadley. Every time I see him, I just see that character and how great he played him. Anyway, here is a scene where Casey brings home Ryan.
What a home. It's unbelievable. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice. Susan works really hard.
Yeah, shows.
Eat, before it gets cold.
This looks delicious. Thank you.
Oh.
I made the sauce.
The sauce is... The sauce is really good. Incredible.
Ryan, I hear you're a doctor. Your parents must be very, very proud.
Not really. They wanted me to be a DJ.
He's funny. That's funny. You didn't say he was funny, Cassie.
Dad.
You didn't say it was funny?
No. I said you were boring but rich.
I am boring. Not that rich.
Oh, well, in that case, thanks for stopping by, kid.
Coming up next, we have Alisonbrie, who plays Madison. You know her from The Happiest Season from 2020. Of course, the fantastic TV show. If you have not seen it, she's in Glow. Fantastic. 2017, The Post and The Disaster Artist. 2016, A Family Man. And from what a lot of other people know her from, is from the TV series Mad Men. Here she is talking about her character, and her character in this film is very unique. It's, again, one of those stories where so many people are complicit in behavior that just keeps perpetuating throughout the years, and her character is, not a very good character. I mean, great character, but the person is very flawed. But we all live our lives in our purpose, our little bubbles. So her character is that character where she's just been living with blinders on or just chooses to ignore the reality around her. So here she is talking about her character.
Madison is such an interesting character because she kind of represents the female contingent of victim blamers. She's a bit of a villain when we first meet her, and she's known Cassie from school. She was in college with all of them. She was around when this horrible thing happened to Cassie's good friend. She was friends with them. And clearly, Madison was on the wrong side of history. She was not supportive of Nina and Cassie in the midst of that controversy, and really, I think, sided with the male counterpart and stayed friends with all those guys, and has sort of forgotten about the incident, remembered it in a different way that sort of suits her. And she really has a huge arc in the movie, because after her interaction with Cassie, and Cassie plays a bit of a mind game with her, to put it mildly, and it really affects her.
Speaking of her being a villain, this next clip is the scene she was talking about. Cassie is meeting her at a restaurant, and at this restaurant, Cassie tells her, "This is why I dropped out of medical school." And then her reaction to it, defending it. Again, this is a perfect example. This is not a man-hating film. This is a film about hating people who act this way. So here's a clip from Promising Young Woman.
I actually wanted to meet you today to talk about something in particular. I did wonder. No one's heard from you in forever. I wanted to talk to you about why I dropped out. Okay, sure. You remember what happened, right? Such a long time ago now.
I know, but you remember.
I mean, vaguely.
Do you ever think about it?
Why would I?
Right. Why would you?
So if a friend came to you now, came to your house and told you that they thought something bad had happened to them the night before.
Cassie.
Something bad.
It was years ago.
What would you say? What would you say?
A little weird.
Would you roll your eyes behind her back and dismiss the whole thing as drama?
I don't know
why you're mad at me. Okay, I'm not the only one who didn't believe it. If you have a reputation for sleeping around, then maybe people aren't going to believe you when you say something's happened. I mean, it's crying wolf.
You thought I was crying wolf.
Coming up next, we have Alisonbrie, who plays Madison, talking about what she hopes people take from this film.
I guess I just hope that this movie stirs something up in people. I think I hope that it stirs up conversation in kind of a fresh, new way. I think that people are getting, I don't know. I feel like there's a bit of fatigue as we're going through this moment of talking about this really important thing. And it's kind of a bummer that we're reaching a bit of a point as things are changing. I feel like we're also reaching a point where people are going, oh, we get it. And you're like, do you get it? Can we find a fresh way to examine it so you still realize that this issue is important and relevant and needs to continue being talked about if we do want actual change to happen? And I think a film like this is just the thing to get people talking about it in a fresh way.
Up next, we have the writer-director of this film talking about what she hopes people take from this film.
This film, I hope, as well as just being pleasurable, will be something that people will leave the movie theatre and having had enjoyed it, but also wanting to kind of analyse it. And, I think certainly when the script was going out, people just felt very differently about the ending. They felt very differently about her mission. They felt very differently about the whole thing, and that's really good. You want people to feel like a bit of tension after a film like this.
Coming up next, we have Careymulligan talking about what she hopes people feel after seeing this film.
I just hope audiences have a great time. I just think I want audiences to feel the way that I did when I read it and I got to the end and was sort of gasping for breath, having laughed and cried and been slightly scared. And, I just think I never want to prescribe things, and I've been part of films before that have sort of tackled tough subject matters, but ultimately you go to see a film to escape and have fun and enjoy, and I just think this is this just has every element of that. It has a huge romance, and it's funny, and it's a bit scary, and it's dark and wry and beautiful to look at.
Coming up next, we have the director talking about working with Careymulligan.
The thing about Carey is she's so deeply talented in a kind of bone marrow deep way. And she was always the person I really wanted for Cassie, and so the fact that she's playing her is really a dream come true. She's incredibly intelligent and perceptive. And incredibly diligent also. And so I think really the first time we met, it was, a foregone conclusion. She said, I remember what she said because it was so kind of, it was so indicative of the kind of person and actress she is. She said, I don't know how to do this, so I have to do it. And she's so up for being challenged.
Well, we hope you enjoyed our in-depth look at Promising Young Woman. And I'm just going to tell you from a personal standpoint, I love this movie. And what they were saying is true. There's so many emotions, so much going on. There was points in this movie where I actually stood up. I was on my feet talking to the screen. Luckily, I wasn't in a theater, but I was so moved by this film, and certain aspects were so raw, so honest, so unbelievable at some points. I'm like, no way. I was yelling at the screen. It was slightly embarrassing even at the time, but I couldn't help it. It just brought up so much emotion. So if you really want to see a good movie, I would suggest this. It's not for everybody, of course, because this is a very dark film, but it's very well made. So if you're a fan of just quality film, give it a shot. Now, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, ways to improve the show, please feel free to contact me at cinemajudge@hotmail.com. And just as another side note, just a couple days ago, I added a Facebook group page for this show. So if you look up Cinema Judge Podcast /TV show, feel free to join. I would love to have a group of people that constantly listen to the show, have a place to meet, just talk about movies or TV shows, because there's a lot of stuff on so many platforms that are worth talking about. So if you feel like you want to do this, please find my Facebook group and just look up Cinema Judge podcast / TV show. It would just be fun to have a place where I could tell you, hey, this is what's going on. I just did this TV show, and maybe in a couple days I'll be doing the podcast. Whatever. Just have a fun communication. But if you're interested in joining the group, please do so. It'd be fun to have a fun conversation outside of just talking to myself in the basement. So I want to thank everybody who tunes in every week, especially the regulars. You guys always step up, and I am very grateful. AJ, thank you for going out of your way every time, and I don't even have to ask you. So thank you very much. But my listeners from India, thank you very much. Looks like you've even told a few people. More people are watching from India, Australia, Ukraine, and of course, good people of France. You guys always listen. Thank you very much. Minneapolis, La Vista, Nebraska. Looks like a few more people are listening there. Somebody maybe told somebody. If that's the case, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing the show. Same thing with Columbus, Ohio. More people are listening there. Thanks so much for spreading the word. Longville, Minnesota, Washington, Virginia, Roseville, Minnesota, all of you guys. Big Fork, you know I'm thinking of you. And two very special shout-outs this week go to Kenny at T-Mobile. Thank you so much for, helping me out with my phone and let me just ramble about my show. Thank you for listening, and I really appreciate your feedback. Your feedback really helps me improve the show, so thank you. And last but not least, I want to say a special hello to Susan. She's the owner of the Boquete Garden Inn in Boquete, Panama. She is just a fantastic person. She bebops from Panama to Mexico and back and forth. She runs that place with her business partner, and they are just a fantastic team. I am just thrilled I was able to touch base with you again. So until next time, be well, be good, and I'm gone. I'm Jeff. Thanks for listening to The Cinema Judge.